Hello friends and welcome to my YouTube channel. So in this video we are going to continue our game, and in the previous video we have added a jump functionality, but there are many problems with that jump. So let me play this. And now the first problem that you notice, the cube is coming down very slow. So one thing we need to do is make it fast or increase its gravity. And the second thing, that is, if you see that the jump is not looking realistic, as if I play this. So this is the final result. So I am going to, so now you see that we have a very nice jumping functionality. So we are going to do the same thing in this project. So first thing that you need to do, I have done some changes in my project and I want you to do the same. So first thing is, on the main camera, set its position to -0.64, and on the z-axis set it to -10, and also change the size to 6. So by default it is 5, but I want you to change it to 6. And the next thing that you need to do is, so let me place the scene window here. So the first tile that you see, I want you to do change its position to match these values exactly. So x is on -2.5, y -4.5, and on the y scale 9.0875. And I have tagged it to tile. So you need to go and add tag to it and select the tile. So the second tile we have added is at -1.4 and y is -4. So these values are actually very important. So you need to make them. And also the big jump tile, this is at x at -0.3 and y is on -2.6. So basically the x difference between these two tiles, or any of the tiles, is I think 1.1. So we need to place this second tile at 1.1 unit distance from the previous. Similarly, this tile is 1.1 units far than the previous tile, and on the y-axis this is 0.5 times higher than this tile, and this is I think 1.4 times higher than this tile. So these values are important. I will discuss it later in later videos. So but for now you need to match these values. So first thing we need to do is we need to speed up our cube. So to do that I am going to open my cube script, and inside the update function I am going to paste a piece of code here. So here, in the update, paste this code. I will explain it in a bit. And we also, so here is this code. Also we need to declare these two variables at the top. So one of them is fall multiplier and the other one is low jump multiplier. So we don't need a low jump multiplier, and change the fall multiplier to 1.5 in the update. So basically the idea or the concept here is, if you have played a famous game like Mario. So in Mario, what they do, when you want to jump, you want to go with the default speed, but when you want to come down, or after jump the player, when the player wants to come down, we need to move it fast, so the time it takes to go up is greater than the time it takes to come down. So this will give a realistic jump look to our game. So to do that, here if you see that we are checking the rb dot velocity dot y. So rb is our rigid body variable, and we are checking if the velocity is less than 0. So when you jump and we go up, the velocity at our y, so let's say the cube is here. When we jump, the velocity increases, and at some point the velocity becomes 0, and after that the player falls down, so then the velocity will be negative. So we are checking if we are falling down, that is this condition, what we want to do is increase our gravity at y. So what we are doing is rb dot velocity plus equals vector 2 dot up, so we only want the y axis. So we are multiplying with the, we are getting the default gravity, and we are multiplying it by fall multiplier, so we are actually increasing the gravity at y axis, so this will make our cube fall faster. And after that, another thing that we need to do is we need to change our game speed. So to do that, we are going to use time scale, and we are going to set it to 2f. Also we need to do a ground check. So if I go ahead and play this game, and I am going to press the jump button 2 times, so now you can see that we are jumping 2 times, so we only want our cube to jump once, so we need to add a ground check. So for that, we are going to simply create a private variable, boolean variable, private bool grounded, and set it to true by default. So when we jump, so inside jump we are going to set it to false, because we are jumping and we are not on the ground. But before jump we need to check if grounded, and we are going to make it not. So if we are not grounded, we don't want to jump, so we simply return. So we don't want to jump because the player is not on the ground. And when we hit the tile, so remember, when we hit the next tile, we are going to set grounded to true, because we are now grounded. So inside our on collision inter, we are checking if we are hitting a tile, we are going to simply put grounded equals true. So this is pretty much it. And one another thing that we need to do, so if I play this, you will see there is a little bit of a problem here. So if I jump, now it is snapping. So when we jump, the cube touches the next cube at the corner, and it is going to uh, transform the position towards its center. So what I mean is, so if you see this code on collision inter, so in that what we are doing, when we are hitting that tile, we are setting the cube position by transform dot position to new vector 3, and we are placing the cube in the center of the tile. So we are getting the we are setting its position to the whatever the tile position is. So basically tile x position will be at the center, so this is the center. So this, that's why this cube is snapping toward the center, but we want it on the edge, so that when it jumps, it should not collide with this corner of the next tile. So to do that, we are going to do a very small change here. We are going to minus or subtract the value 0.2f. Now you can see that this is at the center, but if I run it again, it is going to snap at the end. So this will give us a more room to jump and avoid collision with the next tile. So let me play it. Now you can see that it's snapping toward the center. Now the jump will look more realistic. So you can see that now we have a nice jump functionality. But this is the small jump. Now we have a higher tile, so we need to jump higher. So we are going to add a long jump functionality. So in here we want to do a long jump. We cannot simply copy this code and increase the value because the jump is diagonal. So if our cube is, let's say here, when if we increase the value, this will actually go diagonally. So this will again going to hit this cube and it is going to quickly snapping toward this point. So we will actually jump like that. We are going to touch this tile and we are quickly going to snap it here. So this will not be a smooth jump. So to do a smooth jump, we want to first add the force. So let me show you here. So first we want to jump higher, then we want to jump on the x-axis. So we need a first jump on the, we only want to add force at y-axis, then we are going to add force at x-axis. So to do that, I'm going to add an coroutine. So let me copy this code and paste it right here. And inside our update function, here we are going to start this coroutine called long jump. So now you can see that in the long jump coroutine, what we are doing is we are simply adding the force only on y-axis. So we want our cube to first go higher, then we are going to wait for 0.15 seconds, so to give it a time to reach its height, and then we are going to add the force on x-axis. So you need to put exactly these values, or if you want to do a much higher jump you can always change these values, but for now you want to stick with these values. Now after that, I'm going to save it and let me play it. So we are going to place it here. So now we are going to do a small jump and now we are going to do a big jump. So this looks very nice. Now one another thing that we need to do is we need to add some animation. So we want to our cube to rotate while it's jumping. So we do want to do a rotate animation. So for that I'm going to select this cube and I am going to drag my animation window here. So let me drag the scene here, and you need to select the cube and we are going to click on the create button. So if you don't have animation window, you can go to window and click on this animation, and this animation window, or simply control plus 6. So by selecting, I am going to hit a create button, and I am going to name my animation is player animation. Save it. Now to do a rotation, we want to change these values, so I am simply going to hit a record button, and on the z-axis I am going to change its value, and then again press 0. So this will actually create a keyframe here. Now we want this animation to run for 30 seconds. So first this will be at 0 position, and I am going to move it to in the center here at I think 15 units, and I am going to rotate this cube on the z-axis by negative values. So I am going to rotate it at exactly minus 90. Now after that I am going to go at 0.30, and I am going to put minus 360. So we need to adjust this at 0.15 and this on 0.30. So now I am going to stop the recording, and let me, so now you can see that we have a rotating animation. I am going to press Ctrl S to save it. Now in the assets folder you will have an animator controller and your player animation. So we are going to open this animator controller. So let me zoom it here. So now the player animation is set to default state. So we want to create a new empty state here, and we want to set it, sorry, we want to create an empty state and make it set as layer default state, and we are going to make it default state, and from that we are going to make a transition towards player animation, and from player animation we are going to make a transition back to new state. So we only want to play this animation when we jump, so we need some type of parameter here. So I am going to create a trigger and call it jump. From new state to player animation, I am going to in the conditions I am going to add our jump trigger to it. So and I am going to save it, and we are going to uncheck the has exit time here, and from player animation to new state we you have to make sure that has exit time is checked, and we are going to save it, and on the cube you will find an animator controller here. So now we need to trigger this jump trigger inside our code, and when do we want it? Only when we are jumping. So inside our jump function, after the grounded check, we want to play animation. So for that we want the reference to our animator controller. So we are going to simply private animator and anim, and I am going to initialize it in the start anim equals get component and animator, and by accessing this anim we are going to set our trigger. So inside our jump we are simply going to say anim dot set trigger, and our trigger was jump. So now we are going to hit play. Now you see that we have a very nice animation, but we are having some problem. So what we are going to do is to fix this animation, we are going to remove the has exit time, and let's see what happens. So this is actually stuck here. So I think we need to fix this. So go ahead and click on your player animation and make sure that loop time is unchecked. So we don't want our cube animation to loop, we only want it to play once. And also make sure that when you are transitioning from player animation to new state, we want our has exit time to enabled. So this is fine. We can change the value here at time scale. We can make it to 1.5. Let me play it again. Now I think the animation is very fast, so we need to make it slow. So if I put sample to 40, so now we still have some problem with our animation. So let me do it 50. So we will do the minor changes along the way, but for now I think 50 will be fine. So now we need to add some particles when we hit our ground. So let me show you what I mean. So if I am going to play this game, and you will notice when we hit this ground, a small dust particle will emit. So we want to do a small jump and we did higher jump, so that's why the game is over. So you have noticed that we are emitting some small particles, and also we have some trail. So we are going to do it in the next video. We are going to add some particles when we hit the ground, and we are going to add trail to our cube. So I will see you in next video.